welcome to another edition of Mr. Parker's Neighborhood. I'm Mr. Parker, and my guest today, y'all better sit back and get ready, because again, I'm bringing people to the neighborhood who doing things and got something to say. Welcome, my brother, Dwayne Muhammad. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you, and thank you for having me, Mr.
No problem. Thank you for having time for me. Now, what we're going to do here is first play this game with the viewers, but they got to guess what my guest does. All right, viewers, are you ready? Here we go. Is he A, a basketball coach, B, a track coach, C, an entrepreneur, or D, a teacher? You know what? Let's just say E, two of the above. Don't even worry about it. We ain't gonna even go there. Brother Muhammad, will you please tell him what it is that you do, sir?
Yes, sir. I am presently the Dean of Boys at Muhammad University of Islam headquarters in Chicago, under the tutelage and training of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I also hold the position as the student regional captain of the Nation of Islam, teaching, training, and really responsible for the development of the men who are of the Nation of Islam, the fruit of Islam.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, we've come through the prelims of saying Mr. Dwayne Muhammad. Now it's family time. What's going on, Frat? What's that?
Oh, I forgot. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Hey, man, I'm so glad to have you with me, man.
Man,
Now,
thank you.
for those viewing in, let them know where it is you from and some of your background for me.
I am from the South Side of Chicago. I originally lived in the Robert Taylor Homes in Chicago, 3919 South Federal, for 10 years. My father, who really was going to school when I was a child, he, was very successful at getting a degree in engineering. He got up enough money and enough, of that stuff to move us out of the projects. And I moved on the South Side of Chicago. My brothers, my 5 brothers and my 2 sisters. And from there, it was a lot of teaching, training from my mother and father, and eventually went to Malcolm X College out of high school, then to Missouri Valley.
Hold up. No. We're going to go take it back, son. Take it back, son. Now, yeah. In high school, did you play any sports or anything in high school?
I was a point guard at Gage Park High School, and also at Malcolm X, I was a point guard.
Okay. Now you said you got 5 brothers and 2 sisters?
5 brothers, 2 sisters.
And what number are you in the group?
I would be number 3 boy.
Okay.
My sisters are older than me, and I have 2 brothers older.
Okay. So now, so as far as coming up on that, matter of fact, it's funny because I interviewed my uncle, who told a story about how he got sent out of St. Louis to Chicago and stayed with his sister in the Robert complexes. So when you said, I'm like, oh man, they might have ran across each other.
He was the fresh Prince of St. Louis.
No, because after 2 or 3 years there, they sent him back to St. Louis.
Well, anything to save us, anything. And our parents and our family did anything that they could to make sure we. Yes, sir.
And like I said, that's the thing I want to say as far as family being important in everything that you do. I mean, you talk about, like I say, your sisters and coming up and then going playing ball in Chicago. How did you end up in Mo Valley?
Yes, sir. That's a long story. I was my basketball coach was the late John Wilson, one of the first Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh man, okay.
He was my head coach at Malcolm X.
Okay.
There was some things going on at Malcolm X, some misappropriation of funds for the athletic department. And John Wilson got caught up in some of those things.
Okay.
I did a year at Malcolm.
Okay.
And I had already, excuse me, I have to go back. I did a year at Harold Washington College as well.
Okay.
So when I did the year at Malcolm, it was pretty much time for me to graduate, in which I did. But because John Wilson was leaving, you know, I was ready to get out of there. I had affection. I was very fond of him. He was an excellent coach, a beautiful man. He really mentored the men on the basketball team. So when that was over, I had nothing, you know. But my assistant basketball coach, Matthew Peppers, who was an outstanding ball player, Chicago State, he recommended me to some schools, and one of them was Missouri Valley. I chose Missouri Valley, and I ended up going to Missouri Valley. Yes, sir.
So now going from, because you was like me, going from the Chi to Mo Valley. the change of scenery and everything else, how was that for you?
You know, it was very diverse in terms of, you know, you had brothers from Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon. You had people from all over the United States and some outside of the United States. I met some brothers in Jamaica, a couple brothers from Europe. But, you know, it was a little slower than Chicago. And I would always say this about brothers from Chicago. You know, we were laid back, you know.
Right.
We were laid back, not too flamboyant, not too loud, but for us, it was a little different, and we had to adjust and pretty much set the tone. Chicagoans have a way of setting the tones.
It's called the Chi Town, but ain't nothing shy about y'all.
Nothing shy about it. Set the tone.
So now you at Mo Valley playing ball?
Yes, sir. Well, when I played ball, when I was going to practice every day, I actually knew some brothers from my neighborhood who were members of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
So they left sort of a visual stain on me.
Okay.
I knew about the fraternities, but that one stuck out because I knew these men who were in the neighborhood that had influence in that direction. So they had us open smoker at Mo Valley, and they had their tables. All of the fraternities had their tables out on the yard. I saw Phi Beta Sigma, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So I went and signed the register. I signed, and my pledging process began in 1989, spring of well, I crossed in spring of '89, but I didn't start in the spring. I didn't start in the spring of '89, but I crossed in
spring '89. Hey, that's all right. You crossed. That's all right.
Oh my God, I crossed the burning sands.
Yeah. So like I said, so being down in Mo Valley, and then I say crossing, you became and started being an influence for brothers down there as far as not only with Sigma but doing other things. What were some of the things that you was helping do at Mo Valley?
Well, at Mo Valley, we pretty much became aware of our surrounding. We were only 11% of the population, and meaning Black people. So immediately you try to find those who you can relate to. And a lot of those whom I related to that were Black, they had experiences that caused them to be more conscious. Know what to do, what not to do, how to fight, who to fight, and politically and socially.
Right.
So some of the things that we would do was have open conversations. One of the most important things that we did at Mo Valley was we sat around and talked, and we got educated and we educated. We gave to the conversation, we took from the conversation. And ironically, there were members at Mo Valley who had family members who were members of Black organizations. And I got a lot of teaching a lot of understanding, a lot of consciousness from those men at Mo Valley. So that was one of the most important things. Of course, we threw parties as a fraternity. We took up for those injustices with our people because it was happening on every campus in the United States. So where it happened at Mo Valley, I was propelled and drawn to be a defender of our people. And we became vocal, some of us, and we played a part in making sure that justice prevailed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, like I said, and then it's so funny because, like you said, as far as the coming together, the sitting down conversations, I think at that point in time between the 80s and that early 90s, that was a big thing because that's what we had to do because there was nobody we could talk to outside of us who would understand what we were going through.
That's right, bro. That's right.
That's like right. Said, go ahead.
No, I would say that, it was hard to even find Black people who really understood. I remember being in a history class, and there was a young, very attractive Black girl. She was very quiet. She was well-mannered, but the conversation came up about Dr. Martin Luther King. And she was from a very small town, and she knew nothing of him.
Wow.
She knew nothing of Dr. Martin Luther King. She said she saw his picture once, but she was never taught of his movement, what he stood for. She knew nothing of Dr. Martin Luther King. So us coming in contact with her started her on the journey.
Right.
And there were those on the campus like that had no formal teaching or on their people.
Right.
And don't mention Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
She knew nothing about Malcolm X. She knew nothing about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the teacher of many of those who hold the limelight or the light in terms of organizations for the advancement of Black people.
Yes, yeah. And like you said, I mean, it was amazing because, like you said, at college, that's where in a way, my first coming into a brother named Terrence Coley. He's he was practicing. Look, they had this boy he's a freshman, and so I'm a sophomore. We there, and he had people scared to approach him because he stood on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, and that was it. It was Muslim, da da da. And I'm like, dude, why ain't y'all speaking to the brother? Oh man, that's T. He that radical. I got over there, man, and sat down with him. And he gave me that, and I don't lie. He gave you that look like he ain't number this big. Right. He's in there. I say, what's up, bro? What's up? I said, yeah, and I hollered you for a minute. Look here, let me help you understand something, bro. If you come to me about the this whole Christian movement and this, bro, I ain't got time. I said, no. I said, well, I'm coming to you. I said, wait a minute, you know me or something. He said, I know who you are, man. I know some brothers who know you. You see some Park. I understand who it is. I said, okay. Well, I was trying to holler at you. I said, let's get one thing straight. We ain't got nothing else on point. Can we agree on one thing? He's my, it depends. What you got, bro? I said, there's one God. He's my, man, we can go now. And that broke the whole thing. I'm like, that's what threw me off with people because they were throwing stuff at him. He was like in defense mode. But I said, it's one guy. We on the same page. He's like, we there. And became partners from that point on. I went through all it to say that was a learning experience for everybody at that point in time because, again, unless you're in a certain part of the city or a certain setup, you're only thinking there's Christian, there's Jewish, and then the Muslims. But you're thinking a whole different thing coming into that environment. If you ain't never been exposed to it.
Right. But now, you fast forward, and with the onset of the internet, social media, that has broken down or helped us escape from this defensive mechanism that we feel as though we have to put up. Yes, because many of our conversations, when they identify us as Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when some people identify us as that, there's already this mystique, and they want to break that down and have a conversation, but some want to debate.
Yeah.
But now the information is out there. Everyone can go and Google what the Nation of Islam believes, what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan believes, what we want, what we believe as a nation.
Yeah.
And there's no more, the beliefs of Christianity and Islam have more paralleled now, because you can cut away the lies, you can cut through the chase and find, find the truth, find the parallels.
Yeah, but like I said, and again, it was just those situations going back in time to that point in time when there was no internet. Again, if you were afraid to conversate about it, you never could break the barrier. And then it was just so amazing because that little thing that opened up doors for both of us to where we were doing stuff, and we were going to stuff. We were going to the campus issues, and we sitting in the middle. It's like three brothers and the rest of everybody else. We sitting there, we listening, and we ask a question, simple question. And okay, it's cool. But that was something we found funny because it's like, no, we need to understand what's going on around us. And I just tell them, I said, man, the only way we're gonna make it out of here is to, one, understand what I call the beast. Because the beast was the one who didn't want us there. It was the fact that if they would put up different rules and regulations, it's like, wait a minute, I paid tuition like everybody else. I'm up to par on my tuition. So why you say I can't go to this meeting?
That's right.
No. I'm coming in because, again, in school we were taught, oh man, I mean, I don't know about you, but in school, when I got to college, it was so many things that had been covered or untaught.
Yes, sir.
I was like, this is crazy.
That's right, Cecil.
I mean, just for one thing, do you know, because I know they taught you so long that Egypt and Africa was two different places.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's correct. That's correct. The Caucasian, in his quest to subdue land and subdue people, in his quest, he divided up our homeland and, in truth, our planet.
Yes, sir. Yes,
because
sir.
we are the original people of the planet. And as you know, that the Caucasian is only 6,000 years old. He came on the planet as the Bible said he would, and he would subdue the planet. Mm-hmm. And he would all of those whom he can devour, and he has done that. But by carving up Africa and removing the riches of Africa, removing the people of Africa, removing the precious gems of Africa, which are Black people.
Yeah.
The greatest thing that he took from us was the knowledge of ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And that is the thing that we're struggling to get back, right back today. If we got the gold and the riches back, if we got back our dress, our garb, even if to a degree we started to worship the God that we used to worship in our homeland, which is the God Allah. Mm-hmm. If the knowledge, the true knowledge that they stole from us is not given back, all of the other stuff is for naught. It will serve us no purpose without the knowledge of self, right. Who we were, right. What were we doing in truth. All of the gold and the riches and all of that would serve us no purpose. It's the knowledge of self, which is the most important thing. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he says in Message to the Black Man that we will never prosper as we did until we have the knowledge of self.
Yep, and I mean, to add to that, I mean, it's so amazing, and it proves to the point to where my grandfather would always tell me, he say, hear what they saying, but listen to what they saying. Because again, how you gonna tell me that Socrates was the greatest and Plato was the greatest, and then turn around and say, and they got their learning from the Egyptians?
Well, you know, Cecil, you know, our people, you and I are members of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And in order to become members, we have to cross the burning sand.
Yes, sir.
Well, that was given to us. Remember, we didn't integrate white fraternities. We saw on the campuses that there were white brotherhoods, white fraternities, and we petitioned. Some of us petitioned to get into those fraternities, but those fraternities were segregated.
Right.
Then we petitioned to start our own, which we do have 1911, 08, 1914. Those fraternities were the beginning, but Cecil, somebody had to teach us about the process of initiation.
Right.
And white boys did that. The lodges did that. The brothers who joined Masonry, which we had to integrate.
Right, sir.
They taught us that. But that element of crossing the burning sands, see, our fathers were the ones in control in Mecca.
Yes, sir.
Where knowledge and wisdom of the original man first started when the planet was found. We drove the Caucasian from our own land.
Mm.
And there's a whole system or a whole process about by which they came into existence. They come directly out of us.
Yeah, yeah.
But for a reason, we drove them 2,200 miles across the burning sands, and they went into Europe. EU meaning hillside, and ROPE is the rope to bind in. We named it Europe.
Mm.
And they went into those caves and they stayed. And after a time, Moses came and he began teaching and training them. And after 22 years, Moses had a nation of Caucasians up, building homes and ready to build armies and really come back to a form of civilization. But we ran them across the burning sands, and in our fraternities, we reenact that.
Yeah.
But it is a process by which they were driven from among the original people, the Black man and woman. And then you see them come out of the caves and begin race mixing. And that's why you have the lighter skinned Muslims all over the planet. The lighter skinned Japanese, because the original Japanese were called the Ainu, and they were dark skinned people. Chinese were dark skinned people. The Chinese put the Great Wall up to keep the Caucasian out. And there's a movie called The Great Wall with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
They were fighting monsters. And the Great Wall was to keep the monsters out. So we are the original people, and we got that process of driving them over the mountains, driving them into the Caucasus Mountains, 2,200 miles across the desert. We got that. We got that out of the fraternity from an original process where we drove the Caucasians.
Man, and that's another reason why, brother, like I said, from day one, when I met you on our Mobile piece, first time I met you, I had heard about Brother St. John, and you came on, and it was the fact of saying, because I think I was going into it with one of the brothers, and you came on and was like, Brother Cecil, whatever you do, don't stop seeing you. He said, man, I love you. And I'm like, bro, thank you. I love you too. And I appreciate that. And I said, we never met face to face at that point in time, but the connection of, like I say, iron sharpens iron. And that connection was like, look here, do you, man, don't worry. Hey, stand on it and don't worry about it. And I want to thank you for that, man, because that's a helping piece in everything that I do, is knowing that, no, I got to be who I am.
Yes, sir. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in Message to the Black Man, accept your own and be yourself, man. And that's all we can do in truth. Once we learn who we are and what we're to be, how we're to be, we have to stand true to that. And if we do that, then we can get along with anybody who's trying to do that.
There it is, who's trying. Now, okay,
yes.
so you go through, you get out, you finish and graduate from Mo Valley. Where you head to next, man? What's the next move?
It wasn't that simple. Well, I suffered a loss in 91. Okay. My father passed, and I had to fly back to Chicago. I wanted to get back to Mo Valley, but things just weren't the same. I did get back for a semester. Summer came, and then I went back home. I decided what I was going to do, which was finish my education at Chicago State.
Okay.
I met a very beautiful young lady. I started dating her in 92. And she came to my graduation in 94. And we've been married now for 26 years.
Congratulations, sir.
18-year-old child, son, 18-year-old man, a vacuum of food suction. Beautiful family. I posted a picture of us on Facebook at Dwayne Muhammad. My family, I posted it today. It's getting over 300 likes already. So, but that process, when I came back, let me say this. I really had a hatred, and I'll put it like that, for the neighborhood where I grew up. When the drugs hit the community in Inglewood, Chicago, it became very dangerous. And the gangs and the violence became it was just so rampant. I hated it. See, so I would watch friends of mine jumped by 5, 6, 7 men. I would watch young, beautiful girls become victims of drug addiction and overdoses, those who died, and friends who were college bound began selling drugs and now doing prison time. I hated the community. Every recreational sport in the community was interrupted with gang violence, and it became so unsafe that I had a hatred for our community. So me going away to Mo Valley was one of the most beautiful things that I could do. I had to get comfortable when I got there, but once I got there and I got comfortable, I found the Blue and White family, I found my family, and it was cut short with the death of my father. So now I'm back in the community and it's worse. The drug epidemic, people that I saw, that I knew that were okay, when I came back, they weren't okay. They were caught up, brother. I would be told stories of brothers whom I knew were gonna make it out. Now they're serving time because they began selling drugs for the local drug dealer. And I remember one day leaving my mother's house and I was headed to the park where I played ball, and a nice vehicle pulled up next to me, and the brother gets out and said, "Hey man, you know," and it was that brother, it was that local drug dealer who was making so much money. And he said, "You know, you ought to come and work for me, man." And I said, "You know, work for you doing what?" He said, "Look, man, you know what I do?" He said, "Look, don't nobody suspect you. The police won't suspect you. You're clean cut, you're college boy." I said, "No, man." He said, "Well, why don't you think about it a little bit?" And when he got in his car, the disgust that I felt, brother, because for you to proposition me meant that you looked at me and thought that there was a possibility.
Yes,
and I don't know if I was putting off some energy, but I would never, and I knew that I would never travel down that road of drug selling, drug using, or any form of ties to any organization or anyone that sells drugs. And we see what it's done to the Black community under the presidential administrations and the CIA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
George Bush.
Yeah.
Who was a friend of Noriega's and found a way to get the drugs into the Black community so that they could buy weapons to wage war over in South America. So
yes, I mean, like I said, and again, that was the thing that once you were in school, you got to talk. And like I said, you got talking about the many people that you met from different places and things. That's the thing that I said that was part of the piece of knowledge and unsuspecting knowledge that I got when I was at Central. Because again, you sitting around conversating, and everybody has different perspectives on what's going on, and just to hear them helps you to make up your mind on, I need to check into this, I need to check into that. But it scares me because during the 80s and early 90s when we were in school, everybody rapping wise was different, and it was all about moving your mind to a different level. And then all of a sudden